game. Time to play the game! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Toe Knows Everything, the podcast on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Today I'm super stoked and excited to have with me Mr. Alberto Tari from Elite Suites and Shooting Stars International, an international player agent as well. I've known Alberto for some 20 years. I first met him back at Sportsplex 1 in my small complex where he came in and had some faith and confidence in me and had his Woodbridge Strikers team. Brought him over to practice and we've been friends ever since. He is a super knowledgeable soccer aficionado. He's been involved in all sorts of international games, bringing Rosano from Syria this summer. Mr. Alberto Tari, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
It's amazing to have you here. I want to talk to you about a whole bunch of things. I want to talk to you about business, sports, soccer in general. But tell us a little bit about yourself and your background and where you came from, where you grew up, and how you've come to be here.
Well, I was born here in Toronto, basically downtown in the Italian community.
College?
Lansdowne and St. Clair.
Beautiful.
Right?
Old school.
Yeah.
Earls Court Park.
Yeah. Then I moved up Midtown and then moved into Concord. Went to university. Studied there and started this company by importing Elite Suites, and it's been now about 30 years. Been very successful. We deal with almost every chain here in Canada, some chains in the United States, and we've had very good growth every year. So
Fantastic.
I'm very proud of that. On the soccer side, I'm 55 years old, so I've been involved in soccer since I was 5 years old. Been in it, played, coached for 27 years. And now it's been a couple of years that, as you mentioned, I help players move around the world on a professional level.
Incredible. So this summer you brought Rosano, you brought a professional Serie A team here. They played a bunch of games here locally in the GTA. How do you see soccer evolving here in the GTA and the Toronto area over the years? You've been in it for such a long time at the local level, professional level. What's been going on with soccer here in Toronto? Do you see it progressing?
Well, that's a very interesting question. We definitely have great athletes in not only Toronto, our province, but Canada. But, we have a long way to go as far as the development side. Like I've just myself, I've learned to accept that players that want to take this sport seriously have got to put in 5-6 days a week of training. You can't just train 2-3 times a week because the other parts of the world from 13 and up are training 5-6 times a week.
So you're saying we're starting to catch up. We're getting the right mentality, the pro mentality where it's not just a hobby. It's not a part-time thing. You got to dedicate. You got to grind every day, hours every day, training,
willing to make sacrifice.
You're
not willing to make sacrifice, you're not going to end up your...
What's the problem with Canadian soccer? Why haven't we been able to qualify for a World Cup since 1986?
Well, without offending anyone, my personal opinion is, like I said, we have great athletes. We haven't done a good job developing them. We don't have enough qualified coaches across the country, and our system, from the top all the way down, needs a lot of help.
How do we fix the system? What do we do to fix this? I know there's no easy solution, but if we could wrap it up and summarize it, what do we need to do to fix soccer in Canada?
The only way you're going to fix this soccer, it's got to start from the top. If you don't make the changes from the top all the way down, it's going to continue to be just what it is today.
So is that because soccer is not a primary sport in Canada? Although it's the biggest amateur sport, because more kids play soccer than any other amateur sport in Canada.
Exactly. We do have more youth players playing soccer than we do playing hockey, which hockey is our number one sport. But the main reason is soccer has not moved forward is because we are not doing a good job developing these players. We don't have enough qualification. That's the bottom line.
Okay, so do we need to bring in qualified coaches? Is it the investment at the national level which trickles down to the local level that we need? Should we be spending money to develop soccer players so that we can perform on a national stage?
Absolutely. We need to do what the Americans did 25, 30 years ago.
Before the 94 World Cup.
10 years before the World Cup, they invested hundreds of millions of dollars of bringing in the qualified coaches from Europe and South America. And you know what? They did a good job. And Canada has to step in at a federal level and start pumping in money to help bring this international sport to the next level.
Because I think the issue here is that Canada and sport and recreation at the federal level doesn't understand that it's an investment long term, and it's going to reap a lot of benefits, financial benefits. All these kids playing soccer long term will reap health benefits on our healthcare system. They'll reap financial benefits from buying merchandise created here locally in manufacturing centers. So there's tons of spin-off effect, but I don't think the psyche is quite there yet to understand that concept.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So as a businessman, how do you see the business of soccer developing in Canada? You know, we've got the CPL coming, we've got Toronto FC in the MLS, Montreal Impact, we've got Vancouver. Are we headed in the right direction, or are we just piggybanking an American model with the CPL?
Well, I could tell you that the MLS, it took them about 5 to 7 years to get kick-started. They've done a fantastic job in the last 25, 30 years, and it is still growing, and it will continue to grow. CPL, you know, I've got my 50-50 doubts on that. I mean, I talk to people every day in the soccer community, and nobody has even heard about a CPL league, even kick-starting in this country.
Absolutely.
So we have a long way to go.
I agree with you. So I think the big problem is marketing. Like, I ask people, who's the marquee player in the CPL? And I've asked multiple, I see thousands of soccer people here a week. Not one person can tell me the marquee player to represent the league. We have not invested. One of the reasons might be the cap. So the business model is all screwed up. The cap is $800,000 a year. What quality player is going to come and play in Canada for a salary of $30,000, $40,000, even $50,000 a year? It doesn't make any sense.
Tony, hit it right on the nail. If I'm going to go watch a CPL game, doesn't matter where in this country, if you don't have a marquee player, why would I want to go watch, right?
Absolutely.
So, yes, they've done a poor job on the marketing side. The investors have spent millions and millions of dollars in the franchises, and you're right, they're capping it at whatever it is, $850,000. You're not going to get any one or two, key players that you're going to want to go watch these games. So the marketing side of it is very, very poor.
So Alberto, aside from bringing in these marquee players, what does the CPL need to do to be successful?
Well, to be successful, in my opinion, the number one thing they need to do is bring in well-known name players. If they don't do that, they're not going to get the spectators, and it's just not going to grow.
What's the issue with the Canadian soccer culture? Why don't people pay to be in the stands? Why don't they want to pay? Because TFC2 was up here in Vaughan. They played out of the Ontario Soccer Centre. They didn't make it. They're back downtown at Lamport Stadium, playing on the turf there. Why didn't they succeed here? Like we had the mayor here, big press conference. TFC2 is coming to Vaughan. People didn't support it. They had 100 people at the game. There were more guys banging a drum than there were people in the stands watching the game.
Well, Canada is the number one multicultural country in the world. These other ethnic nationalities, they're not taking, soccer seriously. And that's one of the reasons why when they moved TFC into Vaughan, where they were having 100 spectators, they don't take the team seriously. You know what I mean? What are they going to watch? So they had to move it back downtown.
So I'm going to give our culture a shot because I'm an Italian, so I can say it.
Yeah.
So are Italians cheap? They don't want to pay to be in the stands, or they demand a quality product? Why weren't the Italians, who make up, I think it's 35% of Vaughan, and obviously soccer has been a big part of the Italian culture. Why did they not attend? Was it because of ticket costs? Because the ticket costs, they were giving them away.
Yeah.
Why weren't they in the stands?
Well, because like I said, and by the way, you're right, Vaughan does have a very large Italian community, and we know that we have one of the biggest leagues in the world, which is Serie A, and Serie B, whatever, and so on. Italians, I'll be honest with you, they don't take soccer seriously here, and that's why you're not getting the fans going out. Even if you get them the tickets for free, they won't go.
You're 100%
What are they going
right.
to watch? They want to see quality, and they want to see name players.
So we better hope we don't have the same situation for the CPL, because obviously you're targeting the same community. I think they're playing out of York University Stadium. You got the same demographic, 5-kilometer radius. Let's hope that things turn around somehow. You got to pray for a miracle, a Hail Mary, maybe something will happen, because I'm a soccer fan. I want to see it succeed. I want to see it happen. But you need a plan. You need people who are passionate about it. You need business-minded people like yourself to say, hey, you know what? We're doing it all wrong here. Let's rejig this thing to make it work. Yeah. And I don't see that happening.
Yeah. The bottom line with the CPL, in a nutshell, we need to develop our youth so that way they become the players that they deserve to be and play at a certain level. We need to bring in some South American players. We need some European players. And you got to build that culture because that's who we are.
Right. So you just hit the nail on the head about something. I think the South American soccer culture is one of the best in the world, obviously. You go to Brazil, Argentina,
absolutely,
Spain, La Liga.
Yep.
One of the best soccer cultures to follow in the world. Yep. We don't capitalize on that here.
We're not taking advantage of those players, South America, and they're dying to come up here to make a name for themselves, and they can move on to bigger leagues and go back to maybe to go play in Europe.
So I know you're representing a couple of South American players.
Yes.
What is it about the South American player that sets them above and beyond the rest of the world? Why target the South American and not the Italian, the German, the Dutch?
From my point of view, my experience, because they play with this right here.
With the heart. You got it. 110%. So that's an amazing point. So what we'd like to see is obviously representation from all over the world, since Toronto is a multicultural city.
Absolutely.
But we don't take advantage of that.
We're not taking advantage of that.
Okay. What do we need to do in terms of a soccer culture to get ready for the World Cup in 2026? Is Canada going to be ready? Are we ready for the world stage? We're obviously a host. I think we were hosting 10 games. Are we going to be ready as a nation to host that World Cup 2026?
Well, I hate to say it, but I hope so. I hope that because that could be maybe the kickstart of turning soccer finally around in this country. And I hope that they do well, it does well, they do a good job in marketing and capture, everybody's view on it and make soccer grow as a whole for our country.
Yeah, and I hope so too, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, Alberto, we're going to play a little game. It's a name association game. Because you're in the sweets business and you do desserts and obviously you export and import products all over the world, we're going to do name association. I'm going to give you a soccer player's name and you tell me the sweet the best represents that player. Okay, so you think it can be a cake, it can be a sweet, it can be a cupcake. You tell me which player goes with the sweet. So Lionel Messi, give me the sweet that best represents him.
Lionel Messi, tiramisu.
Okay, good. Gigi Buffon.
A cheesecake.
Why a cheesecake? Why a cheesecake for Buffon?
You know what? Because cheesecakes have become very, very popular in northern Italy.
Okay,
that's why. And
perfect.
He's from the north.
That's right, he is from the north. Neymar Jr.
Oh, a nice cannoli.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And the final one, because this year, I'm a big fan of this guy, and I don't know if people follow Serie A soccer, but Quagliarella, who is one of the leading goal scorers in all of Serie A, and people don't give him credit because Ronaldo's having a smashing season, but Quagliarella, who's 36 years old, an older statesman of the game, who's also on the national team, give me the sweet that represents it.
If I may interrupt, do you know what part of Italy he comes from?
Tell me.
Napoli.
Hey, Napolitans, music, pizza, soccer.
So, sfogliatella.
Beautiful. Alberto, thank you so much for being on here. Ladies and gentlemen, Shooting Stars Academy. Follow Alberto Tari. He is on Instagram. He's on Facebook. He is all over the internet. His company, Elite Sweets, massive company exporting, importing sweets all over the world. Follow this gentleman if you have kids or if you're someone looking for a contract overseas or looking to come and play contact Alberto today. Where can they reach you, Alberto?
Oh, they can reach me at my email, albertotari18@gmail.com or 416-805-3074.
Phenomenal. Thanks, Alberto.
Tony, thank you for having me.
Thanks, man.
It's all about the game and how you play it. All about control. And if you can take it, it's all about your debt. And if you can pay it, it's all about pay. And who's gonna make it?